You're in a dense jungle, you see a dog on the path, you blink, and it's gone. It's vanished into the canopy above you.
You'd think it was a spirit, a forest demon.
Which is exactly where the witch dog name comes from. It links them to local spirits like the Sigbin. When an animal breaks our rules for what a dog is, we immediately classify it as supernatural.
There was one other
Yeah.
graphic detail in the notes about their anatomy.
Laughs double sealing anus. Yes.
You have to mention it.
We do because it's a brilliant adaptation to prevent jungle parasites from entering their body when they're in the water. It's purely functional, but it's another thing that makes them seem other magical.
Right. Let's pivot to color. Specifically, the Chow Chow's blue tongue.
Ah, classic.
There are two great myths for this. One is that the dog licked up drops of blue paint when the sky was being created.
The poetic version.
And the other is that the Chow was a dragon dog that hated the night, and it tried to lick the darkness away to bring back the sun.
And the gods punished it by staining its tongue blue forever.
I just love the logic of that. I don't like this dark thing. I will lick it until it goes away.
It's perfect dog logic. And it ties into their image as guardians. You know, the food dog statues outside temples.
Those aren't actually dogs, are they?
Technically, no, they're lions, but lions weren't native to China, so the artists based the sculptures on the powerful dogs they knew, like the Chow.
So Westerners saw a dog-like statue and just called it a foo dog.
Exactly. And speaking of Western names, the name Chow Chow itself isn't Chinese.
Right. This shocked me. It was British traders.
It's Pidgin English. Chow chow was a slang term on cargo manifests for miscellaneous items.
So your tea, your silk, and miscellaneous, including the fluffy dogs.
Pretty much. They were just etc.
Calling a puffy lion dog miscellaneous cargo feels incredibly disrespectful.
It definitely lacks a certain poetry.
Okay, we're in the home stretch, and we have to talk about the one mythological dog that every kid from the 80s wanted. Falkor.
The luck dragon from the never-ending story.
Obviously, Falkor isn't real, but our sources pointed to this modern obsession with finding real dogs that look like him.
The golden doodles, the cockapoos, that white, scruffy, wise but also goofy look.
We literally want to own a luck dragon. I think that says so much about us. We still want that magical companion. We still project that supernatural guardian role onto our pets.
We absolutely do. We want to believe our dog has some connection to luck or fate.
Although, one of the commenters in the source thread did bring things crashing back to reality.
What was that?
They pointed out that the Falkor look in a real dog, that sort of mystical, far-off stare, is often just, glaucoma.
Or maybe just an eye infection.
Right. But it proves the point. We are so ready to see magic that we'll look at a medical condition and think, wow, he's seeing into another dimension.
We filter everything through the myth. From the Aztecs seeing a healer in a hot dog to us seeing a luck dragon in a labradoodle.
So let's wrap this up. We've gone from underworld gatekeepers to sky eaters to, well, to living armor. What does it all mean?
I think it shows how deeply entangled dogs are in our own evolution. For tens of thousands of years, they protected us from the physical darkness, from wolves, from intruders. It's only natural that when we contemplated the spiritual darkness, death, eclipses, we assumed our dogs would be right there protecting us from that too.
We couldn't imagine facing it without them.
Even the scariest ones, Cerberus and Garmer, they were just doing their job. They were still guardians.
Even the Lord of the Dead needs a good boy.
Seems so.
Well, that concludes our deep dive. It's really something to think that the animal snoring on your floor might have an ancestor that people believe could eat the moon.
Or climb a tree to fight a cobra.
I'll leave you with a final thought. In our modern world, we have alarm systems and GPS. We don't really need dogs to guard us from wolves or guide us through the underworld anymore. So why does that deep, almost supernatural bond still feel so essential to us?
Maybe it's because, in a world that can feel pretty disconnected, they're the only creatures who witness our entire lives from start to finish.
They're the keepers of our own personal myths. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next deep dive. as a spiritual power.
That's the morphology of myth right there.
Okay, so we've been in the underworld. Now I want to look up.
Yeah.
Because dogs aren't just guarding hell, they're eating the sky.
The Celestial Hound. It's an archetype that pops up in so many disconnected cultures that's fascinating.
You see it with Skull and Hati in Norse myth, chasing the sun and moon. But I was reading about the Korean version, the Buljay.
The fire dogs. It's such a great explanation for eclipses.
Yeah. The King of the Darkness sends his fire dogs to steal the sun for light, but when the dog bites it, it's too hot, so it spits it out. Then he tries for the moon, but it's too cold, spits that out too.
And the part of the sun or moon that was in the dog's mouth is the eclipse. It's a simple, perfect story to explain a terrifying event. A giant dog took a bite out of the sun.
It makes the cosmic familiar. And there's another more subtle sky connection, the four-eyed dog.
Ah, yes. This shows up in Hindu texts with Yama's dogs, and in Zoroastrianism as well.
This one is my favorite example of biology creating a myth. Obviously, no dog has four eyes, but think about a Rottweiler or a Tibetan Mastiff.
They have those tan spots right above their eyes.
Exactly. They look like a second pair of eyes. So when the dog is asleep, its real eyes are closed, but those tan spots are still watching.
Which was interpreted as the dog having double sight. It could watch the physical world and the spirit world at the same time.
It was never off duty. That's incredible. A patch of fur becomes a supernatural surveillance system.
It's all about interpretation.
Okay, one more from the sky before we come back to Earth. The Greek paradox of Laelaps.
The ultimate logic puzzle. Laelaps was a dog destined to catch whatever it chased. Unstoppable.
Until it was sent to chase the Tumeshan fox, whose destiny was down that it could never be caught.
The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. The dog has to catch it. The fox cannot be caught. It breaks the rules of their universe.
So what did Zeus do?
He basically short-circuited. He couldn't solve the paradox, so he just turned them both to stone and threw them into the sky as the constellations Canis Major and Canis Minor.
Froze them in place forever. That's one way to solve a problem.
It's the divine equivalent of turning it off and on again.
Okay, let's bring it back down to Earth. I want to talk about hair. An insane amount of hair. I'm talking about the Hungarian sheepdogs.
The Puli and the Commandor.
If you're listening and you haven't seen one, you have to Google this. They look like giant living mops. These thick corded coats.
Like dreadlocks, yeah. And people today often think it's just for show or that the dog is neglected, but those cords are incredibly advanced biological technology.
Our source called it biology is armor.
And that's exactly what it is. The cords form this dense felted mat, so when a wolf attacks the flock and bites the dog,
it just gets a mouthful of hair.
a mouthful of woolly felted hair, the teeth can't get through to the skin. It's a natural Kevlar vest.
That's genius. And the Commodore is white, right? So it's also camouflaged.
Perfectly. It blends in with the sheep. So you have a predator, a wolf, thinking it's stalking a sheep, and then the sheep turns around and it's a 100-pound armored guardian.
Surprise. And they work as a team with the Puli.
They do. The Puli is the smaller, more agile drover for the day. The Commodore is the big, heavy guardian for the night, a whole tactical unit.
Okay, if the Commodore is a tank, this next dog is more like a Formula One car. The Azawak.
The Sighthound of West Africa.
The photos in the research are striking. You can see every single rib. If I saw one on the street, my first thought would be that it's malnourished.
And that's a common Western misconception, that leanness is a crucial adaptation for dissipating heat in the Sahara. They can't have any body fat.
And they hunt at, what, 65 kilometers an hour? But it's how they hunt. They don't just bite.
No, they use a technique called bumping down. They catch up to the gazelle and just slam into it with their hindquarters at full speed to knock it over.
Like a linebacker. But here's the contradiction. Most sighthounds are aloof, solitary. But the Azawak is extremely pack-oriented.
It's a survival mechanism. The desert is scorching hot during the day, but it gets freezing cold at night.
And with no body fat.
They can't regulate their own temperature, so they have to sleep piled on top of each other for warmth. They call them puppy piles. Biology forces a social structure on them.
Speaking of strange biology, we have to discuss the dog I'd never even heard of. The Aso Engubat.
The witch dog of the Philippines.
And the notes are very clear. This isn't just a stray street dog, an Askel.
No, not at all. It's a distinct ancient bloodline, and they have this one trait that just sounds made up. They have shedding claws.
Like a cat.
Very much like a cat. They're incredibly sharp, and it allows them to do something that Well, that most dogs can't. They climb trees.
A tree climbing dog.
Yeah.
That alone is an... Okay, so I want you to picture the scene. It's, a normal weeknight. You're on the couch, and on the rug is your dog.
Sprawled out, snoring.
Totally. Maybe twitching its paws, drooling a little. It looks like the most harmless domestic thing in the world.
It's the picture of the wolf in the parlor, completely tamed.
Right. But the thing that really jumped out at me from our sources for today is just how recent that harmless image actually is.
Oh, absolutely.
For most of human history, that animal on your rug was seen as a monster or a guardian of souls, a bridge between worlds.
Or a cosmic being that could literally eat the sun.
Exactly. It's this massive shift. And when you look at folklore from, all over Aztec, Norse, Chinese, Philippine, you realize we've never been content to just see dogs as animals.
No, we've always projected something more onto them, something supernatural.
And that is our mission for this deep dive. We're not just, telling old stories. We're looking at what our sources call the morphology of myth.
Drawing that line from a physical trait to a legend.
Yes. From weird claws or hairless skin straight to the supernatural power it supposedly represents. We want to explore why we believe this stuff.
Biology becomes magic.
So let's start with the big one, the gatekeepers. Because if there's one job dogs have had across almost every culture, it's guarding the door to the afterlife.
It's the most consistent pattern you'll find. If a mythology has an underworld, there's a very good chance there's a dog at the gate.
And the most famous has to be Cerberus from Greek myth.
Of course. The three-headed dog, everyone knows the basics.
But the pop culture version is so watered down. Reading the classical text, the description is just way more nightmarish. It's not just three dog heads.
No, not at all. The original descriptions give him a serpent for a tail and a mane made of living, writhing snakes. He's chaos. He's the absolute barrier.
But here's the little detail from the linguistics research that I just love, the name. Cerberus? It sounds so ancient and terrifying.
Cheers, that does.
But the root word, Kerberos, it goes back to a word that basically means spotted.
Right. It completely changes the vibe.
Right.
Hades, the grim lord of the dead, has this snake-covered monster guarding his kingdom, and he named him Spot.
It's such a power move. And Cerberus isn't a one-off. If you head north to the Norse myths, you've got Garmr.
Right, Garmr, the guardian of Hell's Gate. He's often confused with Fenrir, the giant wolf.
But they're different. Fenrir is the world ender, the one who eats Odin. Garmr is the warden.
The warden, exactly. He's described as bloodstained, just this physical boundary between the living and the dead.
That idea of a boundary seems key, which takes us to Egypt and Anubis. But with Anubis, the role shifts, doesn't it? He isn't there to keep you out like Cerberus.
Yeah.
He's more of a guide.
He's the psychopomp, the one who weighs your heart against the feather of truth. But you have to ask the biological question, why a jackal?
Well, the sources are pretty direct about it. Jackals were scavengers.
They hung out in cemeteries, they dug up shallow graves.
So biologically, they were a threat, a desecrator. But the Egyptians did something fascinating with that.
Instead of demonizing the jackal, they sanctified it. They basically said, this creature is already the master of the boneyard, so let's make him the god of it.
It's like hiring the most notorious hacker to be your head of cybersecurity.
That's a cynical but very accurate way of putting it. And it wasn't just Anubis. Our notes mention other deities, like Duamutef.
Right, the jackal-headed son of Horus. His job was to guard the canopic jar that held the stomach.
Again, it's a nod to the scavenger. The dog gets the stomach. And then there's Wepwat.
Opener of the Ways. What a great title.
It implies you need a guide, someone who can see the path that you can't.
Speaking of guides, let's jump from Egypt to the Americas, and a dog that's still around today, the Xoloitzcuintli.
The Mexican hairless, an incredible ancient breed.
So the myth is that they were created by the god Xolotl from the bone of life, and their whole job was to guide souls through Mictlan, the Aztec underworld.
But there was a condition. If you were cruel to dogs in your life, the Xolo would refuse to take you across the final river.
A moral toll booth.
Yeah.
But there's a biological part of the Exo myth that I find even more compelling. The idea that they could cure sickness.
Right, things like rheumatism or toothaches.
And this is the aha moment. It connects directly to their biology. They have no hair.
And a high metabolism, so they radiate a lot of heat. If you touch one, they feel significantly hotter than a dog with a coat.
So if you're an ancient Aztec with arthritis and you press this living hot water bottle against your aching joint,
it provides real physical relief from the pain. But in that worldview where magic and medicine are the same thing, you don't think heat transfer, you think the dog is pulling the sickness out of you.
The biological reality gets interpreted